Welcome back to episode 6 of Trash Talkin.
I'm Reg.
I'm E, and we got some drama in football. We got some history in basketball, some opinion questions, more of your Broncos to get into. It'll be a fun one. Thanks for coming back and hanging out with us. First question is a fun one, and it's one that we kind of have gotten into already. I assume it's going to kind of get into a GOAT debate of some sort. But LeBron just hit 40,000 points, first player ever to do it. He's also been the first player or youngest player at every point of 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 points, 40,000 points to hit that mark. Because of the offense in today's game and the lack of defense, a question I've been seeing all over Instagram and all over social media is what record is going to be broken first, the 100 points by Wilt in a game or the 40,000 by LeBron? What do you think?
I don't think LeBron's ever going to get caught for 40,000.
No.
I mean, if you look at his career, he has been so durable, hardly missed any games. The way he keeps his body in shape, he is ready for the season. And to get 40,000 points, for him, that is a great accomplishment with the teams he's been on. I don't see anybody come close to that. I don't see these players playing more than 10, 12, 14 years anymore, the way the game is. They're always switching teams with the injuries that occur. I think that is just about a guarantee. I know they score a lot in the NBA, but I mean, 40,000 points. I know 3-pointers and everything, but how long would it take Steph Curry at the amount of points he gets per game? It's just, I think that's impossible. Now, Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points. There's been guys that have come close. Kobe had 81 years ago. I watched that game. I thought, well, there's a chance. But to get 100 points in a game would be embarrassing to the other team. I mean, you would think after 50 points, you double team them, take the ball out of the guy's hand or something. I know these guys are so good, but I don't see 100 points coming. I see these guys like Luka, he can get 60, 70. They get hot. Jason Tatum sometimes gets hot, gets 60 to 70.
Yeah.
I would hope not. I would say there's a better chance for that. I would say there's a better chance that Wilt Chamberlain's scoring record off the court gets beat by somebody in the NBA than it does on the court. Because you know what? There's so many more women out there. There's so many more women out there, groupies after the games. I think there's more of a shot that the guys in the NBA could score more off the court than on the court.
I think that one's the more unbreakable.
That one's the more believable one. But the 100 points, I think you're going to see it come close. I could see guys getting 70, 75, but hopefully that's it. What do you think?
I don't think anyone's going to touch 100. I think it's more believable that someone would get 100. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I'm also not sure that happened. There's no record of this happening. All we have is the picture of him holding the 100 card, but there's no footage from that game. That, I'm not a conspiracy guy. That one always kind of did he really get 100? I don't know about it because I don't know. It's believable. He was playing against guys like me, 5'5" dudes. And dunking on everyone.
Well, if that's the case, then maybe nobody believes the Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. But
I believe that. I definitely believe that. Just looking at history. I don't think anyone's going to touch 40,000. I don't think anyone's going to hit 37,000 when he just broke Kareem's record. And the weird thing about LeBron is I don't see I know he just talked about how there's an end in sight and he doesn't know if it's next year or the year after. But I can see him next year averaging 25 again. I think he's only going to build on this. And it's gonna be 45. I can see it being 45.
He's not gonna be guys like in the NFL like Brett Favre.
No.
When he goes out, he's gonna go out on top and in his best shape. He's not gonna play just to play and average 15 points a game.
He's never gonna be that guy.
He'll never be that guy. So yes, he's gonna play probably another 1 to 2 years. I would say 2 more years. And you know what? He's just gonna build off his success.
I saw a video. I was watching a video the other day. It was about how we've never seen anything like what LeBron is doing at his age, and it was everyone else in year 21. It was Kevin Garnett and Dirk, and they were adding all these guys up. And if you added up all their point totals together, they still don't hit LeBron's points per game now. Yeah. So I think he's going to just build on this. I think it was ridiculous that they didn't call a timeout and kind of honor the moment. 40,000. Michael Jordan was the 4th guy to hit 30,000, and he got a trophy when he did. So. But I don't think you'll ever touch 40,000 because I was watching Nick Wright. He put up a stat. And if you look at Wembanyama, if he averaged 35 points per game without getting hurt, he'd have to play all 82 games for the next 16 years. He still would not come close to 40,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
not even close.
Wow. And who got 80,000?
No, 40.
40.
Did anybody have it?
No.
Oh,
40,000.
I guess the producer should really pay.
Yeah, 40,000.
Nice,
He's
that is.
sleeping. 40,000. LeBron is the only
That's
first player ever. And look at LeBron throughout his career. I've been looking at his stats, and if you look at his 3-point percentage throughout his career in Miami, it was like 33. It was or 35 in Miami, 33 in his Cleveland days, and now it's getting a little better in LA. He's a very mediocre free throw shooter. Like he's always been hovering around 70 to 73%. So he's done this with 2-point shots. Like he's dunked his way to 40,000. He's become a better 3-point shooter. He's at 40.8 right now. But I don't think you'll ever see this because it doesn't matter how good you are. You have to stay healthy. Like Luka, I think Luka's a far more talented scorer than LeBron. You just watch him, it feels like it's effortless. But is Luka going to play 21 years and play at least like 65 games every year?
No, you can see.
Does Jokic even want to?
You can see guys like Trae Young. They can't play that.
No,
long.
They can't do that long. It's hard.
They're going to get hurt. They're going to miss a season. They're only going to play 65 out of the 84 games, and it's just impossible. LeBron's
one of one because he's 6'8" or 6'9", 250, and he's durable. 6'9", 250, running like he does. He should have had issues long time ago. This should have been over like 5-6 years ago. He should have been run down.
Think of how many extra seasons he's played with all the playoff games that he's played.
That too.
You add that on to his body, and just it's an accomplishment that no other person will do.
He went to 10 straight finals.
Yeah,
he didn't just like first round and that was his playoffs. For 10 years in a row, he played 4 extra rounds after the playoffs. So the fact that at year 21, he's at like I looked at his numbers the other day. And I guess I didn't really like zone in on it. And because the NBA, it's high scoring now and it doesn't look like MVP numbers, but he's averaging 25, 6, and 8 in year 21. That's the only guy who can get 40,000. Even like Michael. Like Michael was a great scorer, but even Michael stepped away, couldn't do it for a little bit, and then came back. And then his last couple of years, he was kind of wasting away in Washington. It was still good, but no, you have it doesn't matter. Like Luka could do it if he stayed healthy, but there's way too much factoring in. I think this is a one-of-one position where you have to get one very lucky, and obviously he puts a lot into his body, and that's why he says very lucky to not get hurt, and you have to be that great of a talent. I don't think that ever gets touched. I mean, like 2 months ago, we thought Luka was going to break the 100 points. He had like 65 going into the fourth. So I could see us getting close to that. I'm not sure the 100 ever gets broken, but I think we'll get a lot closer to 100 than we will ever get to 40,000.
Yes, exactly.
That's just me. All right, let's move on to some football and something that I'm also not sure happened, but it is being reported that Mecole Hardmon was letting the game plan and the playbook get leaked to other teams for games. Obviously, that's like a horrible, horrible look if that's true, and it kind of stains his game-winning touchdown to win the Super Bowl. What do you think a fair punishment would be, and do you think this happened?
Well, if they have the proof on this guy and guys come up and speak the truth and they have the proof, this guy's banned for life.
He's done.
This is something way, way worse than gambling on games and guys putting $100 on a game and, Calvin Ridley getting a year suspension, for meanest thing is that when you do something like this, the integrity of the game is shot. And it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Yeah.
But you are putting your teammates who you go to war with every week, you're putting their jobs in jeopardy. You're putting their, the game plan. You're putting everything against your teammates, which I think is far more worse than it is somebody gambling on another sport when they're playing. They hung Pete Rose. You can't get in the Hall of Fame.
Jameson Williams just got a 6-game suspension
for that. I mean, to me, I can see the way guys now are nowadays, they're all buddies on other teams. I could see guys, saying, hey, you know what?
Sure.
Watch out for this week or whatever. I could see guys doing that, and basketball is the worst because they're all buddies and they all get together and they all tell each other stuff. But if this goes to the point where this guy did it, and teammates on the Jets are saying it and they're not bashful.
Are they saying that he gave the whole book or he just told
the game plan?
He's
saying like the offensive game plan. He's telling the other team, what we could do or whatever. I think this is, and it wouldn't surprise me with him. And then he goes back to the Chiefs and he gets another Super Bowl. I think this is the worst thing that can happen. And unfortunately now with the way sports is now and gambling and everything else, that I think this could be the worst thing to come out, and he shouldn't have a chance to play another down. What do you think?
This is the worst thing that could happen. If you're sitting, and I know we always crap on Roger Goodell. I think Roger Goodell has done a great job, and I think in
Give me
general.
48 million a year too. I do a good job.
I think in general he's been a great commissioner.
$2 million.
I'll work for $500,000 a week.
Yeah, we'll lower the. But if you're sitting in his, this is like got to be like code red, because I remember like 2 years ago when all the NFL scripted stuff was coming out, like the NFL panicked and they tried whatever they could to lower that, and they made commercials and making fun of it,
exactly.
and they talked about the NFL honors,
Okay.
Yeah.
and so that is. And I listen to Pat McAfee talk all the time. He says number one thing in the NFL is to protect the shield. If there's ever a problem with integrity of the game, that ruins the sport. The sport's done. If it was to ever be believed, it doesn't even have to be true. But if the majority of people believe that the NFL is scripted, that shuts down your league. Your league is done.
I'm going to tell you one thing right now, and this is being generous, that over 50% of people think that sports is scripted.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of theories out there, and I'm one to believe in a lot of things that go on are scripted.
Yeah.
And this to me is
it would add to that argument.
It would add to the argument, and conspiracy theorists will be out there in a moment. And this would be the worst thing for football because it's the most popular sport in the States.
Yeah.
And the other sports are just going to sit back and say, "Oh," and they'll have to
bring it
watch.
down.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who's never ever believed that you can script sports. I don't think you can script a 60-yard field goal. I think you'd have to be crazy talented to script a 3-pointer. But if they don't come down on Mecole Hardmon, like it's a lifetime ban, that's the only thing that could kind of save them from that talk. Is like if they ban him for life, it's like they care about the image. They don't want this going on. It's a horrible look for the NFL, and it couldn't happen to. This is the worst situation because he just walked off the Super Bowl. This is not some bum who is like the third left tackle, right? That's what like you got to be thinking in Roger Goodell's head. He's like, that's going to make it even worse that he just walked off the Super Bowl. That they're going to more scripted talks. Like I've said, I've never believed the NFL is scripted. I think it's way too hard to script that, but it could.
What if a guy on the Bills said to the other team, "Our kicker's going to miss the field goal wide right," and it happened?
That wouldn't even be lucky.
Now it's scripted.
That would just be history
what if
repeating.
he said that? I mean, that could happen. Let him kick. He's going to miss.
He's going to miss wide right.
Let him kick.
Maybe he did it on purpose.
All right, a lot of people that have to be involved.
Yeah, it's too much. There's way too much to me.
It's too much to make it happen.
And for it never to get out, like.
Yes, it's never gotten.
That's always been my thing. Like you've had like 2 or 3 disgruntled employees.
Nobody wrote a tell-all book.
So I think it's a horrible situation. The good part, small good part, is like it's not like you're the number one receiver in the league did this, and now you have to think about suspending him. If Mecole Hardmon did this, you can ban him for life and kind of forget Mecole Hardmon existed. I know he's a good player, but there's a reason he wasn't getting touches on the Jets.
Okay.
I think banning him from the league is easy. You did it to Calvin Ridley for a year with gambling, like you said. And he was a number one receiver on his team. Yeah. You can definitely suspend Mecole Hardmon for a long time.
Just think of how his teammates would feel knowing that this guy was doing this, and you are training camp, you're practicing every week, getting ready for games, and this guy's doing that. I mean,
but not even just Jets teammates. Like now he's on a new team. That's what I would be thinking all the time. I know it's a better situation in Kansas City, but I'd be like, is he being an idiot?
City's a little shady. I don't think they really care.
But he's giving away their playbook. He's like, if I was his teammate going forward, I'd be like, I can't trust this guy.
Mahomes is going to hobble around. He got a bad ankle. He'll come back out at halftime. The same thing.
He might give the game plan.
Huh?
He might give the game plan.
Tony's going to drop the ball a few times and stuff.
That's just lucky. I could guess that too a couple games, but it's a bad look. It's a really, really bad look.
It's a terrible look for sports, and I believe it actually happened because I don't think more than one guy comes out and talks about it.
No, they're not making it.
I think they're not making
it. Who came out talking about it?
I know Morstead, the punter, got mad.
A couple guys, Sauce Gardner on defense, come out, and he's an all-pro. And
what did they have to say?
They said basically that this guy was given, the game plan. You game plan for the week, and this guy's giving your game plan to his buddies on the other team, and
imagine being Robert Saleh, who's fighting for his job.
That's right.
And it's like you didn't even give me a shot. Did they really have a shot? I don't know, but they had a better shot if they didn't give the game plan.
He was just being a baby because he wasn't playing, and he thinks he's a superstar because he's on Kansas City. But
it's such a bad look.
That's terrible.
And I do like Salah. I think he's a good coach, and obviously I don't think Wilson's a good quarterback, so I don't think there's.
Sure, and Rodgers isn't happy if he's doing that.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I mean, you're doing that with a guy like Rodgers on the team, and you're doing that with a lot of like veterans on the team. I know they're not a great team, but you have Randall Cobb, you had CJ Uzama, who's veterans. You got like a bunch of professional guys on that team. That looks horrible, and especially a team that had. I know not high expectations when Rodgers got hurt, but still, I mean, when they beat the Bills in week 1, I kind of thought they were going to figure it out. And no, you can't do that.
It's a terrible look, but the NFL's got to step in and be harsh about it.
I mean, this is the make example of the guys league. They did it with Brady.
Yeah.
They did it with Zeke when Zeke wasn't even found guilty of what he did. So they give it suspensions for a lot less. They did it with Ridley. They did it with Jameson Williams and a couple guys from the Lions. I don't see how they don't lifetime ban Mecole Hardmon, because this is what actually threatens the integrity of the whole sport. So if you don't lifetime ban, it's like Pete Rose can't get in the Hall of Fame. We didn't let in Terrell Owens to the Hall of Fame for petty reasons.
Yeah.
Now you got to come down on this mediocre receiver. Doesn't really mean that much to the league.
And people are always going to wonder what if now. That's the problem. That's the thing. Opening this up, people are always going to say, what if? Do you think it's true or that? Yeah. You know, if some game happens, you're supposed to win. Next thing you know, the other team beat you easy. Oh, It
opens up a lot of conspiracies, and I know Goodell's probably tired of that. And so I think he's going to come down on him. I don't see how it's anything less than a lifetime ban. He's not good enough to sit there and think like, oh, but we need this guy for ratings. It's not like Mahomes did it.
That's right. Exactly.
It's Hardman. So I think you can ban him and really not skip a beat. All right. I think this is the one we're going to spend a lot of time on because we've kind of flown through the first two. So we have to kind of spend a lot of time on this one. This is the one I've been looking forward to. I don't know if this is the one you've been looking forward to. The Broncos move on from Russell Wilson. That was shocking to me. I thought they'd shop him a little first. Maybe they did. They move on from Russell Wilson. Big cap hit from cutting him. Now you have probably a future new quarterback coming in through the draft. Was this a good move or a bad move?
This is something they had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, they've embarrassed themselves last year. They put themselves in this position. The one guy I felt sorry for, and he was one of the best owners before he passed away, Mr. Pat Bowlen. Mm-hmm. When he ran this team, always 500, never below 500.
Well,
none of this goofy stuff ever happened, and ever since he passed away, his kids had the team, and these guys got the team, and the last 8 years has been a joke, especially how they've done. And, everybody blamed John Elway. Now they got George Payton. This is going to be the worst trade in the history of sports. Yeah. They gave up 5 draft picks, 3 players, and $242 million to a guy who, I'm not going to say he's past his prime, but his better days were behind him.
You can say it.
And
he's not otherwise.
Exactly. And he's not the greatest quarterback.
No.
They panicked because they missed and passed on so many quarterbacks the last 8 years. They backed themselves in the corner. They had to do it. And is it better for them? We'll see who they get, if they draft a guy or if they go again and pick up a veteran, but they don't have as much money to spend. But to have the worst trade in the history of sports, and just shows you how bad the GM is. He didn't lose his job for this.
No.
And with the new owners, you think the pride would be there, and they've had 8 bad years in a row since beating Carolina in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think Russ, if he has chances, I think Pittsburgh's a good fit. They got good running backs with Najee Harris, Jalen
that'd be a good one.
Warren, and stuff like that. They got good receivers. Farmouth is tight end. They run a system where, Russell Wilson, if you run the ball, he only has to throw it 20, 25 times.
He'd do well.
I think he'll do well.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that's going to throw it around 45, 50 times. His scrambling days are almost over from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I think Atlanta, if they don't get Cousins, or if they don't, at number 9, they might pick a guy. If they don't get a guy, I think he'd be a good fit there. They got a good young offense with Pitts and Drake London and John Robinson. They need a quarterback. They're a good team. Again, it's a good fit because they run the ball more.
Bad division.
They run the ball. Look at Baker Mayfield. Yeah. He proved it last year. He went to a bad division. He looked very good playing for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
This would be funny, and I think they could do it for spite, would be the Raiders.
That would be good.
They don't have anything right now, and if they're not going to draft a guy or a goal and spend a lot of money, the thing is with Wilson, it's only going to cost somebody the bare minimum $1.2 million. Denver's sucking up the rest of it. So it's only going to cost you $1.2 million.
Yeah.
The problem with Wilson is his attitude. I don't think he's going to go anywhere and be a backup. I don't think he has that in.
No, he's not back.
No, he doesn't have that. He's a prima donna. He doesn't have that in.
Too 1.2.
Yeah, he won't sit behind the bench behind somebody. I think those teams, and again, I think the way the game is, his time is just about up. If somebody gets lucky, like Tampa Bay got with Mayfield and gave him a 1-year deal of $4 million, and he does that for you, then maybe he'd be a good fit for somebody. But I don't see him turning anybody around. He's not getting the 2 Super Bowls he promised.
No.
I just you know what? When they first did the trade, I didn't like it, but I didn't think it would be this bad.
No,
I didn't like the amount they gave up for him, and I didn't like the money they
You thought you were getting an elite quarterback.
But I thought we were getting a 5-year deal.
Situation.
No, I knew it wasn't Peyton Manning good, but the money they dished out to him right away is the part that bothered me. And 5 draft picks and 3 guys, 2 of the players I liked, and they gave Drew Lock too.
Ended up being one of the picks.
All the guys they
Charles
got in
Cross.
the pick. I mean, Seattle raped us on that one, and the Herschel Walker trade was 10 guys years ago.
Yeah.
This is
That's what they were
way
comparing
worse
it
than
to
that.
on Skip's show today.
This is way worse than that. I mean, George Payton has to go for doing that. I don't understand why he still has a job, but do you think he's going to play?
Yeah, someone's definitely going to pick him up. I don't think the Falcons will. No, the Falcons could. I think if he were to be a Steeler, that would be really good for them.
That's my.
I think we were forgetting the one thing that I think Collins Coward said this week is we're kind of forgetting, like we're underrating how good he was before, just because how bad the Broncos 2 years was. Everyone's saying how bad he was, and like he was one of the best quarterbacks in football for a while. There was like a 3-year span where you could put him like 2-3 in the league. That fell apart. He was a scrambling quarterback, got hit a lot. I liked the trade a lot for you guys when you guys got him because I said a guy like Russ, I thought he was going to be 3 firsts. That's the first thing I thought, and you only give up 2, but you give up 2 seconds too. And you give up Shelby Harris, Noah Fant. And Noah Fant is kind of been, he's been iffy since. And
I love Shelby Harris.
Shelby Harris is good. So I don't think it's the worst trade of all time. I think the Deshaun Watson trade is a little above it because I don't think Deshaun will ever be good again. I think he's kind of done.
Well, this offseason will prove it. I mean, the amount of massages he's going to have between now and training camp, this could blow right up, and this could actually help them grow. And this could be the worst.
It could look a lot better for you guys.
I don't even think Deshaun Watson should start in Cleveland.
No, I think but you pay him so much money, you have to. But I think you guys could be in a really weird situation where, in 2 months we see, or 3-4 months, we see J.J. McCarthy roll out in a Broncos helmet at training camp. And that would be really weird because I don't hate J.J. McCarthy as much as everyone else does. I don't like him as much as everyone else does. But if you guys end up with J.J. McCarthy, your last 10 years of quarterbacks will be one of the funniest lists of all time. Oh. If you put McCarthy on that list, I don't know. That would be funny. But I think you're going to get Penix. I think he will drop to you. I think you'll have a choice between Penix and McCarthy. I just fear for you that you guys are going to take McCarthy over Penix.
I think McCarthy would be gone before, and I think Penix is sitting there. And if they don't take him, I wouldn't take Bo Nix ahead.
No, not at 25.
No, I wouldn't take Bo Nix. I'd take Penix ahead of him, but I think McCarthy would be gone. Teams are really looking at him. I wouldn't even be surprised if New England takes him.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but I think they could. I think that would be very New England. I think they should take a receiver, but if Russ goes to the Steelers, I think they become a playoff team. I think if Russ goes to the Falcons, they become a playoff team. And the Raiders, we kind of underrate the talent they have because their quarterback situation is horrible. And they were just willing to overpay for Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't see why they wouldn't be willing to give $1.2 million to Russ. This was necessary for you guys. I know eating the money sucks, but I've always been like the cap is overrated. I really don't care if I have to eat, $39 million. I just want to, if I'm you guys, I just want to start over. And I think you guys tried to skip the start over part, getting Russ, trying to, but I think the Saints did it for a long time where they tried to just be like, oh, Drew's still good. And then he retired and, we'll replace him with Jameis Winston. And, oh, no, we'll go get Derek Carr and we'll still be good. I think sometimes it's easier to just say it's not working. Let's reboot.
Was there more to it because his numbers weren't bad.
But they weren't.
26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah, but not for all that.
He had a decent year, but the coach was an idiot with him. And you can't bench a guy
and then
come back. Yeah, the coach, he didn't like him to start with.
Well, remember he said he
The coach
can't
went
be
there.
kissing babies
Yeah.
at the start. He was like,
Sean Payton knew when he took the job, that's what he had.
Yeah.
Well, that's
He
what I mean.
couldn't get along
Was it a death sentence for him right from the beginning?
Yeah, it was a stupid fit, but Wilson
He
didn't
didn't
have a
have the
bad
worst
year.
And you guys actually had a section of the year where you guys were looking good. I was excited for you, going, oh my God, they could make the playoffs at one point.
Well, his stats weren't that bad. He was running for his life. The offensive line wasn't that good.
But-
But for the money you're paying,
yeah, did
they
you ever
expect more.
think it was worth it? Like,
Well,
you're
no,
watching him
maybe
play
not
and you're
that,
looking
but-
at the money you're paying. It was like,
Well, I wouldn't keep him another 3 years
No,
anyway. I
you
wouldn't have kept
can't.
him 3 more years.
you're
It's
just killing yourself
Yeah,
when you do.
you're going to pay him anyway. So
It was
Rip the Band-Aid
it was
off.
such a weird situation.
They've been doing that for years.
But to me, when you guys got him, there was no way you guys were in a playoff team. I thought there was a lot of people calling you guys Super Bowl
But
contenders.
we didn't have a coach that year either. We had
Hackett.
Nathaniel
A lot of people thought Hackett was gonna be good, though.
He was a terrible coach. He never had a head coaching job before. We took him
because you thought you were going to get
because we thought
Rodgers.
we were getting Aaron Rodgers, and that didn't happen. So then we had to go for Russ. So
Yeah, I'm very against the like. I know people have been talking about Kirk Cousins, and you guys should sign Kirk Cousins. I don't think you should. I don't even know if you have the money to sign him. There's only one free agent quarterback I would consider signing if I was you guys, and that's Baker. You could probably get him a little cheaper. He's younger, and I think next year. I know this year is top heavy for quarterbacks because you have Williams, May, and Daniels. But after that, you kind of fall off. You have the Penix, you have Bo Nix, and at least next year you'd have, I assume Shadur Sanders.
yeah, he'll be.
And the one guy who I think will be a little underrated and will drop mid-round, who you guys can find, is Drew Aller. I know he's not fantastic at Penn State, but he's prototype, 6'5",
not bad.
strong arm. So I don't see a problem with you guys waiting it out either. Like, who's your backup?
Well, to me personally, now spending more money, they're in a division that's so hard, in a conference that's so hard. That it doesn't make sense to go out and spend $30 million on another quarterback when you're already in debt to this guy. And you're not going to beat those teams anyway. You're not going to beat the Chiefs. You're not going to beat the
Mahomes got another
Bengals.
10 years left.
I would hit reset. I would say, you want Judy, give me a third-round pick for him.
I think they'll do well. I think they'll do a few trades just before the draft or on draft night.
You have to. I'd move up if I could. I don't know if you guys will. I don't know if you guys have the assets. If it was Surtain for the first or second pick or third pick, I would do that.
Oh, I would do it if they can do that. Yeah,
You need a quarterback in that division, especially. You need a quarterback. Yeah, it's a weird situation. You have a good You have a good coach. I know we had issues last year with Russ, but you do have a good coach. The division you're in, you have at best the third best roster in the division.
Yeah.
You could argue the Raiders roster
It's just as good.
is just as good. So it's really weird. It's been a weird 10 years for you guys. The last 9 since you guys won the Super Bowl. Hope maybe there's another Brock Osweiler out there.
That's why for you
willing.
guys, at least you guys make the playoffs, the Cowboys. So,
That's true. But you saw a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so
I know, but at least you guys make the playoffs and
get killed in the first
No, but
round.
you make it there. You got to make it there to get
I
there.
agree.
So
But I would go through the 9 years of what you guys have gone through to see one Super Bowl, though. I would go through it
definitely, yeah.
because that would be I'd cry. I've never
we go
seen
through it and you don't get to see your Cowboys.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, at least we've had quarterback stability. But when was the last time you guys had a quarterback drafted? Because Peyton Manning was a free agent.
They drafted
T.
Drew Lock. He wasn't that
He was.
good.
Oh, I forgot about Drew
They
Lock. I thought
drafted
he was.
Paxton Lynch. I mean,
Paxton
they drafted
Lynch,
guys. Then they tried the Band-Aid with Case Keenum and guys like that, Teddy Bridgewater, and it's just been a lot of bad moves over the years. And Elway wasn't a good help in that, but
Tebow almost saved you.
Tebow again
Kyle
wasn't
Orton?
bad. I mean, that's pretty
Kyle
good.
Orton?
Kyle
Yeah,
Orton
he
was
was.
there. Yeah, he actually played well.
Yeah, but
Jake
Tebow,
Cutler,
he
right?
turned God against you.
Did Cutler ever?
Cutler was
Cutler
there.
was who you guys
But he
heard
was
of.
a prima donna, but
He was a weird quarterback cycle.
in a way, I feel sorry for Russ because he didn't deserve the treatment he had.
No.
And if he goes to a team and he's in the right situation, like you said with Pittsburgh, their playoff
They'll go to
team,
playoffs.
he's going to get them in the playoffs. He's going to win them more games than the guys they have playing now. Same with Atlanta.
I'd rather go to Atlanta.
With the
if I'm
guys
him.
they have now, he's way better than that.
If I'm him, Atlanta's my number one because, you have Drake London, young talent. You have a run game. You have a good O-line. You have Kyle Pitts if they actually finally use him. If I'm Atlanta, if I go get Russ, now I can – because their number 2 receiver spot is vacant. It's London and then Mac Hollins.
Yeah.
So you a guy like Xavier Worthy, who is like my favorite receiver in the draft right now, especially after him running a 4.25. So you can. I don't think it's a Band-Aid now to get Russ. I think you could actually be pushing for the playoffs if you're a team like the Falcons in a bad division. I think that's the best spot for him too. It's a good O-line. Defense is, there's potential on the defense. Yeah. They got Jesse Bates. They got they got some good players. So if I'm Russ, I'm going to the Falcons. I don't want to play for Tomlin, a defensive mind.
Yeah.
And all indications, they like Kenny Pickett for some reason, even though he's not good.
He's not going to get him.
But they love him. Like they said,
he gets hurt a lot.
The report was they're not even looking at Fields anymore because
he'll never play 17 games.
And he's already 25.
I think once Kirk Cousins makes a move, I think then Wilson's going to fall in wherever.
I think Cousins is the best quarterback on the market.
He's the best on the market. Mayfield,
Baker's going to
he'll be all right for somebody.
I think he'll go back to Tampa.
I think Tampa Bay were smart. They'll keep him.
Yeah, they'll keep him. They just signed. They just locked up Mike Evans for 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to keep him for the next 2 years just to play with like Kyle Trask. I don't think that's going to happen.
This extra $30 million they're throwing out to the teams for salary cap is going to help all these players. It's going to help Kirk Cousins.
Well, I hope for your sake that you don't pick J.J. McCarthy, although I do like J.J. McCarthy, but not as high as your pick. I hope you guys go get Penix. I hope you trade up maybe and get someone like May or even just Jaden Daniels. But I don't know. It could be another weird year in the quarterback at the quarterback position for the Broncos.
It's not going to be good. That's for sure.
That's all right. You got 10 more years of Patrick Mahomes.
We went through it before we got that.
Not going to be good.
For Romo.
Actually, before Romo.
All right. Well, you got 10 more years of Mahomes, so maybe in 10 years you can guys start pushing up. Yeah. All right. Well, that is our episode for today. Thank you for listening.
Don't forget next week. Who do we have next week?
We got Rob Klossmo coming on next week.
What are we talking about?
Talking Cowboys.
Woo!
Talking Cowboys. And that's my favorite topic. We'll talk some Dak next week. We'll talk about a lot of Jerry Jones. I assume we have something to say in the next week. And so thank you for listening. Thank you for watching Trash Talkin'.
I'm Reg.
I'm me, and we'll see you next week.